your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Okay, there were a couple of stories this weekend where either the quotes or the gist of the story, just like, whatever, dude. Like, really? Like, do we need... And one of them is this one. The Baylor coaching staff, apparently during workouts, is wearing shirts that say, and they're green shirts with their gold and the BU logo on the front that says, "We pay players." It's just like, do we need to do that? Apparently Baylor's going to opt in, like probably all Big 12 schools and most Power 4 schools are going to do, to the paying $22 million annually to athletes starting next year. These shirts, Jamie, are also available for sale at Baylor's NIL store, which also gives money directly to athletes. Apparently the bold phrasings come from a Dave Aranda quote at Big 12 Media Days.
It was the best quote of Big 12 Media Days. It was the most exciting thing that was said there. It was fantastic.
Why they'd become so successful on the recruiting trail?
Yeah.
We're paying
We
players.
started to pay our players. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was pure honesty.
Yeah, pure honesty. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess they're able to do maybe.
And they weren't doing a good job of that before, and it's hurt them dramatically in recruiting over the last couple of seasons. And they got an uptick this year because they started paying more.
So was that to imply also that, hey, we were doing it right and everybody else was cheating?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, it was almost a shot at his own program a little bit. Like his own athletic department, like that they weren't keeping up with the other schools in the Big 12 that were, that had a collective that was helping to bring in players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think it was a shot at others. I think it was, they were out recruiting us because they could pay their guys and we weren't able to do it, or weren't able to do it with as much. Yeah. Now the T-shirts, I don't know if it was you and I or you and Choice talking about this.
I haven't talked about this.
No, but something similar.
Okay.
I was just going to tell you about it. I don't know. I think there's a fine line of there's a group of sports fans, or maybe we just want to lower it down to just Texas Tech fans or whatever. Just narrow it down. That's the right word, not lower. That have no problem with any of the kind of dollar amounts that are being thrown around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for our student athletes here at Texas Tech. There's a faction that's like completely fine with it, pay them everything, they're worth all of it. Okay? I think there's a faction that's at the opposite end of it that's like, I can't stand this, it drives me nuts, I'm out on college sports. Okay? I think that's the smallest group. And then I think there's a big meaty middle that's like, oh man, it feels icky, it feels awkward, it's different, don't love it, but I still love college sports, and so I have to accept that times have changed and we're moving in that direction, and I just have to get used to it. That's where I am.
Kind of it is what it is kind of deal.
Yeah, that's where I am, okay? Mm-hmm. But I don't necessarily love the money thrown in your face. Like, it's better. Like, I'll just be honest with you. I feel better about our football program because I don't know exactly how much some of those guys are making.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would, where towards our basketball program, where it makes my stomach turn a little bit. Okay, it just feels dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, especially knowing that it's a one-year thing, many of these guys are not committed to being here long term. They're only going to be on campus for 8 months. We're going to pay them $1.2 million. They have no connection to Texas Tech. It's the only reason they're here, whatever. Whereas I look at football players, I don't know how much money they're making. I bet you some of them are making nearly as much.
Oh, okay. I don't know that anybody over there is making $1 million.
No, I don't think so, but I think some are making close.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, from what I've been told.
Okay.
And we just don't know about it as much in football, and it makes it a little bit easier to take for me.
Yeah, no, I think you make a great point there.
Okay, football has done a way better job of hiding all of that. Okay,
it's harder for basketball just because there's fewer guys, and it seems like the basketball stuff gets more publicized, not only here but other places too, in terms of how much players are going for.
Yeah, sure. And the clientele involved is a big factor in all of it. Okay? Yeah. All right. So that being said, there's a poster or a sign out there or whatever that's talking about our wide receiver group, and there's a picture with, I can't even remember what it says on the bottom, but there's an S in the word that's at the bottom.
And it's got
and it's a dollar sign.
Dollar sign, okay.
And our quarterback does the, give me the money thing. Mm-hmm. I don't love the look. Like, I don't think that world understands that there are people in this world that are like, hey, we're still behind you, we love you, but just don't throw it in our face all the time.
It's amazing how much better the sausage tastes when you don't see how it's made.
It's like, okay, you deserve the money. We're good with it. Hey, come play for us. We're glad you're playing for us. All the above. Don't throw that in the face of the fans.
And
okay, let us believe you want to be here because you want to be Red Raiders. Don't throw the money thing in our face. Okay. I don't think they understand that part of it.
Like, you'd feel a lot better about the softball player if you didn't know that she was being paid $1.2 million to come here.
The feeling would be completely different.
Yeah. I mean, I
don't feel bad about her. I'm glad she chose to be a Red Raider. I'm not rooting against her.
Yeah.
But
I'll say this, and when
you read the article and you read she was basically recruited by people that aren't even part of the softball program.
Right.
It's like, this is a different world.
It's a different.
And again, except that's what it is. Mm-hmm. I don't have anything against her, and I surely don't have anything against the people that wanted Texas Tech to win in softball, so they're going to do anything they could.
Right.
I'm not mad at anybody in the situation. It just feels different.
It feels different. Yeah. I have an additional thought on that, but we'll get to this day in sports history next here this morning on the Morning Drive. If you have a thought and opinion on that.
This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
20 here on the Morning Drive. Time for this day in sports history. It is August the 5th. It is Monday. Here is Jeff McGuire.
Going to start us off in 1936 because American athlete Jesse Owens wins the 200-meter in world record time of 20.7 seconds. It's his third gold medal of the Berlin Olympics.
The Fuhrer was not happy.
No, not at all. 1948, Cleveland Indians set a club record for most double plays in a game with 6 in a 3-0 win over Washington. 1963, Craig Breedlove sets the world land speed record of 407.4777 miles per hour in the Spirit of America at the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah.
That was so cool.
It was actually broken a few weeks ago by Chuck Heinz on the Marcia Sharp.
Sweet.
Yeah. But they had this, it was like a blue, I think it was blue. Spirit of America was blue. It's like a blue flame that goes.
It is a very interesting place.
How fast do you think you have gotten going on the Marcia Sharp?
The Marcia Sharp, I've certainly been plus 90. I've probably been 90 on the Marcia.
Then in the morning when it's free and easy.
Free and easy, the concrete smooth. But I mean, I've stopped doing that in the free and easy of the early morn because there's people out there. Yesterday on our way to church, there was a guy at university, and I'm like, what in the world is he doing out? And of course, I was immediately chastised by the lucky lady going, well, if you were going the speed limit, you wouldn't have that problem.
Oh, so you were,
I did not get
there
pulled
was a
over.
police officer.
Yeah.
So you were mad. I have been pulled over on the way coming home from church once. It was not in this town. Yeah, and actually got a ticket for it too.
Yeah, it's kind of like, what are you doing out here? It's 8:30 on a Sunday morning,
Feels like as legitimate a time as any other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1973, Atlanta Braves pitcher Phil Niekro no-hits the San Diego Padres 9-0. It's the first no-hitter for the franchise in Atlanta.
Phil Niekro.
1999, St. Louis Cardinals slugger Mark McGwire becomes only the 16th Major League Baseball player to reach the 500 home run milestone as the Cardinals lose 10-2 to San Diego at Busch Stadium.
It's sad to me that you go back to the fun of the 90s and with McGwire and Sosa and Bonds, and none of those three are well respected or loved in baseball. I hate that because it was sure a fun time back then. And I don't know. It just feels like we've let so many guys in that we know we're using steroids. Just get over it and let those guys in as well.
And would you say of those three players?
The one difference is Sosa was using the illegal bat.
Yeah.
It feels like maybe that should keep. That's different. I don't know. Is it different or is it not?
It's not.
It's not.
I don't know how many guys have used a cork bat in the history of Major League Baseball. I don't think Sosa's the only one. I don't think he's the only one that isn't in the Hall of Fame that should be, or that nobody in the Hall of Fame ever used a cork bat. I also know how science works, and they don't help as much as people think they do. Well,
drive out of Post and on your way to Dallas or whatever, and you see Norm Cash Field. Norm Cash used a cork bat. He put Super Bowls in his bat. But what I was going to ask you is, when you look at those three, Sosa, Bonds, and Mark McGwire, do you feel like that McGwire has showed the most contrition or is the most maybe embarrassed about it?
Yes.
Okay, I've not seen any of it from any of the three, so I don't know. I don't really know.
Okay.
He's when he was the Milwaukee hitting coach, he did like an hour-long press conference answering questions and basically saying that he was sorry and
I do not remember that.
He's
at all.
embarrassed for the stuff that happened.
Yeah, I think Bonds tried to change his image a little bit, coming back and being a hitting coach too. I think him and McGwire both did that, trying to get in the good graces of baseball people and all that. But I don't know. It's just all very silly to me.
And in 2014, in a Marlins 6-3 win over the Pirates, former Red Raider A.J. Ramos gets his 5th win of the year in relief after getting 2 of 3 batters out he faced in the 7th inning. It's National Couscous Day.
I can't stand couscous.
You can't stand couscous. What about
Is this like
couscous?
a relative of Blue's Clues?
No.
No, it's food. You would hate it.
Okay.
Happy birthday.
Why do you hate? You just hate the taste? You look like it's anger. You're angered by
He's got
it.
some issues with it.
What is the anger come from?
Did
somebody force it down your throat or
the
something?
lucky lady and I went to dinner one time. Jeff is smiling because I've told this story before. Lucky lady and I went to a party while we were dating, and the place was serving couscous, and I was so hungry after we left this party. We stopped at the Golden Arches on the way back to her house because I was starving.
Okay.
And just couscous.
That's the story.
That's the story. That's the story. But I mean, the couscous always kind of stands out as it's kind of a rice. Is it rice kind of thing?
It's a grain type thing, if I remember correctly.
I can't tell you the number of times I've gone to rubber chicken dinners or whatever banquets and left, and on the way home gone to a fast food joint.
Yeah.
Because I hate rubber chicken meals and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean, that. Oh, you've only done that once, Chuck?
Oh, I've done that. I've done that more than once. It's just
You're way more mature than me if you've only done it once.
No, it's just the couscous kind of stands out.
Yeah, okay.
Happy birthday, former Texas Tech men's basketball coach, player, and longtime Red Raider, Gerald Myers, 88 today. It's a big week in birthdays. I'm going to ahead and warn you, we're starting with Gerald Myers, and we're going up this week.
Wow.
So, big week in birthdays on the way. Jesse Williams is 43. You know him from Grey's Anatomy. Maureen McCormick.
I don't think I've ever seen that show.
No, I haven't watched it in quite some time, but
It's a good show.
he's one of the characters that has stuck around.
Okay,
So,
I'm not boycotting it. Just haven't. It's just one of those shows I just hadn't seen.
It's still on?
yes, I don't know why. Maureen McCormick is 68. Marsha. Lonnie Anderson, 79. Mark Mulder, 47. The guy that everybody forgets about when you're watching Moneyball. One of the three, anyway. And the guy that has one of my favorite Ricky Williams stories ever, John Olerud, 56 today.
Which is what?
Ricky Henderson, not Ricky Williams.
Did I say Ricky Williams? I meant Ricky
Yeah.
Henderson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite Ricky story. Ricky was mentioning that he saw John Olerud with his his helmet that he wore when he was playing first base, when he was on the Mets.
Yeah.
And Ricky goes up to him and says, "Hey, I used to play with a guy that wore that." And it was John Olerud when he was playing for the Blue Jays.
Yeah. Olerud was like, yeah, Ricky, that was me.
But hey, Ricky's just being Ricky.
Right.
1914 on this day, the world's first electronic traffic signal is put in place at the corner of Elkhorn Avenue and East 105th Street in Cleveland, Ohio.
Wow, Cleveland. Okay.
And that is this day in sports history.
This day in sports history. Do you know? You said on this day, I think it was 73 that you talked about 6 double plays. Was it 73?
That was 48.
48. 6 double plays. The record in a 9-inning game. Do you know what it is, Jamie?
In a 9-inning game, I'm going to guess 7.
7 is correct. Achieved by 3 teams: the 42 Yankees, the 69 Astros, and the Cubs in 2018. 1 line drive and 6 ground balls, with starter Cole Hamels inducing 5 of them.
Well, how many did the Red Raiders have against Kansas this year? I think it was 7.
6 or 7, one of the two.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it was 7 in a loss.
You know what Tim Tadlock would say, right?
You can't do that without letting too many guys get on first base to begin with. Yeah.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
7:15 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thank you for being with us today. A little upon further review on my gymnastics story from the Olympics. The young man was actually from the Philippines. My friend that texted me says the free colonoscopy and the free ramen noodles were clearly a joke. I didn't take it that way, but I've told you.
Apparently not clearly.
I've told you before. I'm pretty gullible, so I mean, I took that as fact, but he wasn't from Japan. He was from the Philippines. I think it was the Philippines' first gold medal too. So, at any rate, don't ever want to let the facts get in the way of a good story, Jamie.
Somebody else on the chat line said the colonoscopy reward had to be a joke.
I don't know. I mean, it's so funny because some of these Olympic commentators with some of the things that they've said, some of it was justifiable, have been sent home for some of their commentating because they've made some jokes that were, I don't know if they just were trying to be a little too cute for the room, or they were just sexist or political, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Really?
Yeah, there was a guy from, there was one guy that was sent home.
Americans?
No, like a BBC guy, I think it was.
Somebody else on the chat line says the Philippines gymnast, it was their first medal winner ever.
Ever.
That's probably why there's a house involved and all the above.
Yeah, right. The colonoscopy and the free ramen noodles.
Yeah, it's not the first medal ever that an American athlete wins.
No, no. And then there was the gal that won the 100. She was from an island country.
Cool.
And she was, I mean, they were going crazy. They had big TV set up at her home country, and she beat out the American.
Okay,
Yeah,
not
so-
cool. Never mind.
Yeah, that wasn't.
Well, if she won, she beat everybody.
Very true.
Americans, Russians, Japanese, everybody.
Yes, that's fair. That's fair. That Jamie, the track and field now is in full force. Okay, so just so you know.
It's good news.
Yeah. So I mean, I know that that's something that you really like. So just keep that in mind. That the
I was at a basketball tournament all weekend, so I really never took any of it in this weekend.
Julian Alfred was the one that won for the women's 100-meter final. She ran it in 10.72. Sha'Carri Richardson, 10.87, and she was supposed to compete in Tokyo, but she had a doping problem.
She seemed like a media favorite,
Yeah,
so she didn't win.
she did not.
Oh.
The Alfred is from St. Lucian, and
Did Richardson try leaning forward with her fingernails?
I don't know.
May have gotten her there quicker.
No.
We found out yesterday it's your torso that's got to cross, not your fingernails.
Yeah. She ran it in 10.87, and then the third American, Melissa Jefferson, ran it in 10.92. So the Americans went 2-3 in the 100-meter finals, and on the men's side, the Americans went 1-3. Okay, and Noah Lyles, who ran it in 9.784 seconds, just won over the guy from Jamaica who ran it in 9.789 seconds. He was the first American to win the 100 meters in 20 years.
Really?
Yeah, 20 years. So he has the title now of world's fastest man. Fred Curley, we talked about this earlier, who ran at South Plains College back in the day,
He finished third.
Yeah, he won the bronze. Any take, any observation, any thoughts yet on Texas Tech football from what you've read, seen, heard? Just talk to folks about.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's anything that's jumped out so far, and that's, I think, good news. Mm-hmm. Right? There's been no major injuries to talk about or anything like that. So I think all the news out of camp so far has been pretty basic.
Yeah, the one injury. Well, I think there's a couple injuries, but the one that was talked about at Coach McGuire's pre-first practice media availability was to the left tackle.
Right, and he said he would be back
in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Right.
So doesn't seem like anything earth-shattering yet.
Did we get an official standing on where Chuck feels the Red Raiders will finish since the beginning of camp?
Standing pat at 9.
Standing pat at 9-3.
Standing pat at 9-3.
Okay.
Standing pat at 9.
I wonder if that happened while I was gone. If we got an official stance after hearing the
That's
first
hard
day.
to go to 10-2. You know,
I remember someone very distinctly sitting in that chair saying that you could start the season 11-0.
Well,
and you just kind of get rolling, and you get the next one, and you
Right.
get the next one. So
yeah,
you
right.
know,
It all just sometimes it happens like that. You know, you get kind of on a roll, and you go, oh, well, this and 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 this.
and then you start the season 0-2.
And then you start the season 0-2. So I've been. Are you still at 8-4?
I'm still at 8-4.
Okay, Jamie's still at
8-4.
8-4 as well. So we made score predictions on the 29th of July for the first 3 games. Okay.
Okay.
The ACU, Washington State, and North Texas. So I may need to get yours at some point in time, Jeff, on those 3 games, so that you can kind of see, we can have a comparison, because we had Brennan in for you last week, and so we got his. The closest probably was my 30-20 score for North Texas. And then one of the other things that we did was strengths and weaknesses for the season. My strength and my weakness was the same. Quarterback could be your strength and could be your weakness. So yeah, Coach McGuire will be available today after practice. So it'll be interesting to kind of get a update on how things are going with the receiver group. It's hard to, that probably more than anything else is how's Baron Morton's arm? Is it fatigued at all? Is it still 100%? That would be a couple things. Maybe how the kicking game's going, because there's a little, they alluded to a competition between those two guys, Reese Burkhardt and Gino Garcia. And then, because you're really not going to know much defensively until you get into a game. Or maybe
fair enough. I mean, I think definitely not after your first game. You'd have to wait until the second game
before you really know. Okay, are we going to be able to? Do we feel like we're going to be able to put the pressure on, or do we feel like we have the depth that we set? I mean, and it may not even be until your first Big 12 game that you kind of at least start to have a look at that.
Yeah, maybe.
3 or 4 games into the season. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes as far as practice. And it was funny because Saturday looked like they had some really good weather, but they were off Saturday. And they've been practicing in the morning, which I think probably makes sense. Probably can get more done in the morning than you could in the, quote, heat of the day. But they're going to play in the heat of the day, too.
Sure. So you got to be ready for it.
You got to be ready for it. They are going to practice this afternoon. I think today's practice is scheduled to start at 4 o'clock today. So there will be, and today's going to be warm. It's going to be north of 100 degrees. So that'll get their attention today as far as practice is concerned. All right, it's 7:24 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Jamie's question of the day is next.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
Before Jamie asks his question, welcome to the group, Chuck. We're getting shirts made for the tired of Dak Prescott. Just play out your contract. And
I think I've been part of this group, but it's just, it just seems like it keeps getting worse and worse.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Okay. I think if you're a non-Cowboys fan, you're probably like, just stay, Dak. Everything's going great. All right, we're talking Red Raider football here. Mm-hmm. We're looking at the schedule. I am telling you today, you can guarantee a 3-game sweep, 3-game winning streak at some point during the season. You have to guarantee it. That doesn't mean other ones are going to lose. You just don't know. Mm-hmm. But you get to guarantee a 3-game winning streak. What are you guaranteeing?
Well, right off the top, I go to the back end of the season with Iowa State, Colorado, Oklahoma State, or Colorado, Oklahoma State, West Virginia. There's 2 home games there, or there's 2 road games there, depending on which one you look at. And then I go to the initiative of starting off the season strong, okay? And you've got 2 home games with Arizona State, Cincinnati, and then at Arizona. And then you have the middle portion of the season where you have 2 road games and a home game. And I think that's where I'm going. At Arizona, Baylor, at TCU. Give me those 3.
At Arizona, Baylor, TCU. Okay. Jeff?
See, I'm really torn here because part of me wants to go Iowa State, Colorado, Oklahoma State. Get a big win over Oklahoma State on the road. You beat Colorado at home, which is going to be your big I don't want to say marquee game at home this year, but that's the one everybody's excited for. And continuing your dominance over Iowa State. But I think where I'm going is closer to that with Baylor, TCU, and Iowa State. Let me beat the Bears, the Frogs, and Iowa State back to back to back. That's the one stretch of the season. I feel like you're going to drop one of those. And if I can guarantee 3 wins there, I will take 3 wins there. But It's close between those 2 sets.
Okay, so the 3 games that I would hate to lose the most, besides besides North Texas, because then we would just never hear the end of Chuck.
Sorry.
TCU, Colorado.
Never hear the end of Chuck.
It would just never stop. It would never stop.
Probably right.
TCU, Colorado, Oklahoma State. Those are the teams that I want to beat the most.
Okay.
So it's got to be in that area for me. And they're, all conference games or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going the Iowa State, Colorado, Oklahoma State route because I think you have a better chance to win at TCU than you do at Oklahoma State. Because I didn't pick TCU doesn't mean you're going to lose it. It just means you're not guaranteeing it. I think Oklahoma State's the harder one to win, so let me guarantee that one. So take 2 road wins, plus you get the Colorado one. I think that's where I'm going. I think those, and because right now on my schedule I have Iowa State and Oklahoma State as losses, and so if you turn to those into wins, man, it's a different world.
Yeah, and so that's kind of where I was going, was if you got off to this great start and you continued it with a win at Arizona and you won 2 road games because you feel like that you're going to win. I say this, you're not guaranteed to win your 7 home games, but you're going to be favored probably in all 7 of your home games.
And that's going to get you, if you went with yours, Arizona, Baylor, TCU, that gets you to 8-0.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun.
That's kind of what I was. That's kind of what I was thinking, was that you'd have a lot of momentum on your side going into that Iowa State game. And then you'd be 8-0 with, 4 games left, or 9-0 with. What do you got? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you got to be 8-0 with 4 games left at Iowa State, Colorado, at Oklahoma State, and at home against West Virginia. So that'd be fun.
Smack dab in the conversation for college football playoff right there.
No doubt.
You'd be getting there. You'd really only have one quality win.
The at Arizona.
Yeah. That we think would be quality.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, you'd be
in the top 25, and you'd be saying, hey, you got a shot, and if you finish strong. Yeah.
Oh, I think if you're 8-0 at that point in time, you're in the top 15
with one quality win.
Mm-hmm. The problem is going to be where you're starting. And of course, you have to see how the other teams are and who's going to fall out. But at 8-0,
yeah, maybe.
I mean, I think certainly top 20.
I could see that.
But
I think I would predict between 15 and 20, just because there's not a lot of meat on that bone.
Sure, that's fair.
Well, remember when Tech was 7-0 under Cliff Kingsbury, and Tech hadn't played anybody yet, and everyone was getting excited. We're like, hang on, have you seen what's left on the schedule?
Hang on, we're going to go get cheated in Norman.
Sure.
Get ready for this.
the 5-game losing streak that was preceded by the 7-game win streak. You were top 10 in the country at that point. And that was 7-0.
This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. I don't know if this is positive or not. And somebody just said what you just said. Jeff, in 2013, Cliff was 7-0 with 0 quality wins and ranked 10th, right? Somebody says this. Again, is this positive or negative? May we never, in all caps, never, hear the end of Chuck.
I think that's positive. I think that's saying we don't ever want to hear the end of Chuck.
Okay.
We want to continue to hear Chuck. I think that's what that says.
Okay.
Now, if you switch may and we around and you say we may never hear the end of Chuck, that's kind of where I was going with my comment. If we lost to North Texas,
makes complete sense. Makes complete sense.
I think people in this town would turn on Joey McGuire so quick if we lose to North Texas. Number one, because you lost to North Texas. Okay? Number two is because he would have emboldened you.
Emboldened me?
Yes, and they would all blame Joey McGuire for having to deal with that.
Gotcha.
But I definitely think that comment was positive, and the texter says, of course it was positive.
Oh, of course it was positive.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I mean, you never know. 7:40.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Hey, good morning. It is 8:02 this morning on the Morning Drive, hour 3 of 3 as we get your work week started. Hope you're off to a great start today. It's something that we wish for every single day, right? Get off to a great start. Nobody wants to get off to a bad start. Mm-hmm. All right, we come to you, Jamie, Jeff, and I, from the First United Bank studio here in downtown Lubbock, and look forward to hearing from you on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that. You know, I always know that school is about to start. One, you hear about all the different, you see all the stuff, right? The school supplies and things along those lines, and clothes and stuff like that. But the true sign that school is about to start, Jamie, is when you drive by the high schools. And I don't know if every high school does it, but I just know that I drive by Monterey quite a bit when they are out painting their parking spots for the seniors.
Okay.
That's when I know that school is supposed to start. And the smarter seniors have pop-up tents that go over their parking spot while they're painting, because
then they're painting in the shade.
They're painting in the shade, and it's not the heat of the day. Right?
That is one thing that we didn't do at my high school, was dedicated parking spots for anybody other than the teachers, and even then it was just teacher lot versus student lot.
Sure.
That I kind of wish we had done. That there were like specific spots that you could do that kind of thing with.
What would you have done for your spot? What kind of logo would you have put in there?
I don't even know. Like that, I'm so far removed from who I was then. Mm-hmm. Man, at the time, could have been anything.
Jamie, would you have put a Yankee logo there?
See, but here's my issue with that. I'm not driving over that.
Okay, right. Okay, gotcha.
And what if your car had an oil leak?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not driving on that. I just wouldn't do that.
I can assure you that.
Yeah, I used to have Texas Tech double T mats in my car, and I put plastic over the top of them, wrapped them in plastic because it was sacrilegious to be standing on the double T.
Okay.
He's not kidding. I remember those mats.
Yeah, I taped the, like the stuff when you're putting in new carpet or somebody's working in your house and they put that sticky. Right. That's I put over the top of my carpeted double T mats because I didn't want them ruined, and it was sacrilegious to be standing on them, stepping on them.
Then you finally just got rid of them?
Well, and I got a different vehicle. I had to get different mats that fit the vehicle.
It just didn't really.
So now they're in my trunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can assure you my 73 Monte Carlo leaked a little oil. Yeah, but
so I don't know what I would have put.
Leaked oil then.
Maybe I would have put a Red Sox logo down there if I was leaking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know. They sure spend an awful lot of time doing that. I think they do that out at Friendship as well.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah, yeah, and probably at Cooper and I know they do it at Coronado. I'm certain they do it at Coronado at Lubbock High and probably Estacado too. But man, it sure seems like a lot of effort. But again, that's you do you, right? You want to have the best looking. And what I would imagine, too, is there's a lot of guys that are helping their girlfriends do that. And then I wonder how quickly after it gets done does the girlfriend say to Johnny, Jack over here is much, much better looking and has got a much better car and he's a much better boyfriend than you are. Even though you helped me paint this. See you later, Charlie.
Oh, I don't know. I bet there's a lot more of those that are done by females than by males.
I don't know. I see a lot of guys.
It seems like the guys wouldn't take the time to do it.
Or they're helping their girlfriend do her parking spot. Would be my guess.
Maybe so.
A lot of dads as well get conned into that.
Yeah, I bet you there's a lot of girl dads that are doing a lot of that.
That get conned into that thing as well. I don't think they did that when our kids were going to high school. I think that's a relatively new. I mean, our kids are grown and gone, have been for quite some time. So,
did your former senior have her?
She did not do one.
She did not do one.
Mm-mm. No.
Would you have helped her if she wanted to do one?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Do you think the senior to
But
be
we
next?
weren't going to push her to do it because,
It's a lot of work.
because we're tight with our money and we're like, we don't want to pay for a bunch of paint that you're just going to put down and drive over the top of.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't have suggested it, so we didn't push it.
Mm-hmm.
It was not the work; it was the money involved. That we were like, why would we push for her to do that?
Yeah. We get this. In 1986, Friendship started assigned parking, no painting spots yet.
What?
That's what this texture says. Do you see painted spots over there?
A bunch of them.
A bunch of them. Okay.
A bunch of them.
Yeah, you're over there all the time.
Yeah.
You're. Do you think the senior to be next year will do that?
I wouldn't be shocked.
Okay.
Yeah, next year.
Like a basketball or something?
Yeah, not this year, next year. Right. I don't know what she would do. I don't know. Probably paint a mural of our dog, knowing her.
Well, then she'll want to change it out when it gets to be wintertime. She'll want it to be Winfield to have a sweater.
My guess is that there'll be mountains involved.
Okay.
And probably a cross of some sort.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with any of that.
Nope.
Good for her. All right, 8:08 this morning here on the Morning Drive. I'm going to read you a quote. This really disturbed me, and I think when I hear this, it just tells me that the Cowboys should just cut loose of Dak Prescott. He met with the media on Friday. Dak Prescott did. And he believes the quote, the money is out there regarding a new contract for him. Asked by Todd Archer about the obligation, and he has an obligation to both his teammates and the rest of the NFL, Prescott gave a lengthy answer and said this: I'm a guy that grew up with two older brothers. You understand what a brotherhood means, not only for just this team, but the fraternity of the NFL and the players. The money is out there and the money can happen. It can be done. There's ways to make everything work for both ways. That's in the sense that it's always about pushing the envelope for the next man. That's why I've said I never really truly cared about the number, whether it was the first time and the franchise tag and the negotiations or now. But what bothered me the most is that's in the sense that it's always about pushing the envelope for the next man. In other words, it's not about his team that he's worried about. He's worried about making sure that he gets enough so that the next time, the next quarterback can get more than what he's getting. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard a player say.
That's just a flat-out lie. He's worried about himself.
Right.
As most people are in that situation.
But is that being selfish or?
I just take all of it and just laugh at it because I don't think he's worried about the next guy.
Next man.
I think he's worried about himself.
Yeah.
And most people are. I get it. Even the quarterbacks or say, I'm going to take less so my team can win. They're worried about themselves too because they want to win,
sure.
Right? And their legacy, especially if your quarterback, is winning.
Winning, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody. Rule number one for everybody.
Right.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.